All right, welcome to the weigh-in. Conor McGregor's back. It's always big news when Conor McGregor's back. I was grading this card. It's a 5 automatically. No matter who's on the undercard. Conor McGregor's that kind of star. It's a 5 automatically. And there's not a lot of trash talk. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, Conor McGregor's interviews have been pretty boring. It's new Conor McGregor. He wants to come off as more mature. Maybe he is more mature. He doesn't need that to get attention. Conor McGregor's really smart and he knows what he needs to do to get attention. And he doesn't need to do that to get attention anymore. So he doesn't do that. I think there's still people that could rile that out of him, but Dustin Poirier seems to want to be nice, play nice as well. Same with Don Cerrone. And I expect a similar outcome for both of them in the fight. I don't know if that correlates with each other. It probably doesn't. You know what I mean? Skill is skill in the ring. And Dustin Poirier doesn't have, he's just not on the level of Conor McGregor. He's really, he's got here because he's tough. He's got a workman ethic. He comes forward. He's got some skill offensively. He's skilled, but he just makes way too many mistakes to do in front of Conor McGregor. That's a lot of like when I break down these fights. It's usually that it's like it's more what the mistakes that guy makes than even what the other guy does, right? And Dustin Poirier makes a lot of mistakes defensively. Like in MMA defense, it's the one thing that needs to catch up. Like with and MMA that is lacking is the defense to striking. Right, the striking is getting better, but the defense to the striking is not on par to what the offense is. And if you see like in boxing or kickboxing, they have more defense. The techniques are more there, and it's just not there in MMA right now. Now I don't know if it's the gloves. I don't know if it's just because there's so many techniques to you have to watch out for, but a lot of them could be avoided. Like I don't know, like head movement shouldn't have to affect like your takedown defense. You know what I mean? It shouldn't affect you blocking leg kicks. It's just something that a lot of guys lack, and Dustin Poirier lacks it. And he also has very bad foot positioning after he strikes, moving backwards. And I think Conor McGregor's going to push him backwards. I think that's why Conor McGregor's confident that he says he's going to finish in 60 seconds. And there's a really good chance that he does. He does finish in the first 60 seconds because he's going to push Dustin Poirier back because Conor McGregor's a more push you back type of style. He was way more aggressive than Don Cerrone. I think he hurt Don Cerrone, with when he went to throw a punch. He overstepped it. He went into like a sprawl technique because Don Cerrone wants to wrap him up, and Don Cerrone ran to his knee. I believe right when Don Cerrone ran to his knee, thigh area, he was hurt. But you've seen in that Conor McGregor's way more aggressive. Why is that? I think it has a lot to do with the Floyd fight. I think Conor McGregor saw that a lot of his punches couldn't get the power he wanted to. He wants to get a little bit more of an aggressive, in your face, but smart. He's still smart. He's still defensive. Conor McGregor's defense is still pretty decent. Still good spacing, but he's going forward. He's more aggressive, and I think Conor McGregor is going to be more aggressive in this fight. He likes to loop that left hand now. He throws that left hand more of a looping style. Before it used to be a straight down the pipe. He loops it more, right? I think he's trying to get the most power he can get into it. He's been working with, those boxing coaches that he had started with way back in the day when he first started fighting, and I think that they have more of that style, more of a little bit of aggressive brawler. And I think with Conor McGregor, he's going to add the intelligence to that style, but I think that's what's going to come, and I think he's going to push Dustin Poirier back, and Poirier's going to make too many mistakes. He's going to get too square with his feet. He's going to lose his feet. He's going to back up. He throws punches and he switches for no reason, just other than he loses his balance, right? He does all these mistakes, and Conor McGregor's going to land an overhand left that's going to put him out. It's going to hurt him. He's going to go down, and it's going to look a lot. I believe it will be easier for McGregor, honestly, this fight. And that's not saying that Dustin Poirier isn't any good. He's not Don Cerrone. He's better than Don Cerrone. He's a legit fighter. He has legit wins. He has Dan Hooker as a win. He has Justin Gaethje as a win. He has legit wins. I'm not saying that he doesn't. He just makes too many mistakes, and Conor McGregor is just at another level for him to compete with him. How does Dustin Poirier do it, though? If he were to do it, how would he do it? It would take something that Dustin Poirier doesn't have a lot of patience. It would take him letting Conor McGregor blow out that first steam of energy he has in the first 2 rounds. He would take a hard jab, which Dustin Poirier actually has a pretty decent jab. He doesn't use it a lot. He doesn't use it consistently. He never uses it twice in a row. He kind of uses it always to start his combinations, but he has a very heavy jab. It's his best weapon. In my personal opinion, it's his best weapon. He needs to get that going constantly throughout the fight to keep Conor McGregor back, to stop Conor McGregor's rhythm. When Conor McGregor starts coming forward, jab him in his face. Reset. Be patient. Let the few rounds go. Let Conor McGregor blow his load. Because we know that Conor McGregor's power, one thing about it, it doesn't carry later in the fights. We've been noticing that. It's a trend here. He slows down. He's not as patient. He starts fighting, starts losing his feet with his punches. He starts losing technique. That's where you need to get this fight in. And then you can start applying your pressure, because your pressure will start working now at that point. Similar to what Nate Diaz did to Conor McGregor. But you need to get the jab going early. You need to keep your head movement, everything's not going to, I don't believe you're going to have an amazing head movement now or amazing footwork. But what you do have is you have a perfect stance for a high guard defense. Now, Conor McGregor is smart. So if you came in here, right, and you stood here high guard, Conor McGregor is going to rip you to the body. So that's why you have to keep a distance. Don't get stuck to the cage. If you get to the cage, run out of there. Get back to your jab. Boom. Get your jab. Boom. Your southpaw. Bam. Jabbing. 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 Don't overextend that left too early, because Conor McGregor is going to be waiting for that. And sometimes you forget to put your hand back. So jab, jab, jab. Boom. Feint it, jab, feint. For 2 rounds. In your mind, be strong. Keep a high guard. Let Conor McGregor have to earn this knockout with a combination of when you want Conor McGregor to start reaching. Once he starts reaching, then you can start mixing combinations. And then once you start wearing him down, you start going to combination, because you're a combination puncher. You start seeing Conor McGregor back up, then you start putting multiple shots in, then you start burying him to the body. Look to wear him down. But it's not going to happen early. I don't think you have the skill or the ability to make it happen early. I think you got to jab him. You got to prolong. You got to make Conor McGregor run into some doubt in his mind. And let's see what Conor McGregor is. Is it the old Conor McGregor who's new, or is it a new and improved Conor McGregor who's going to stay patient? It's going to wear you down. Let's find out. But you need to find that out, because I think Conor McGregor is going to come in. I think he's going to push you back. I think he's going to come in with a real tight guard, but he's going to be sitting down in sitting down position. And I think he's going to wait for you to throw your lead left, and he's going to come over it with his left. I think he's going to wait for you to strike, and he's going to come over it. And he's going to wait for you to back up, and when he hits you, he's going to jump on you. And I think that's what will end the fight. I think that Conor McGregor has a good chance to end this fight for 60 seconds. I'm going to be honest with you. When he says that, I don't think that's out of control. Probably not, you know what I mean? Because it's a fight, and there's going to be, he's got to be cautious. But I think first round stoppage, that's the way I see it for Conor McGregor. First round stoppage, I can't see going past the second. On the undercard of that co-main event, Michael Chandler. Now, Michael Chandler, he ran Bellator for a while. He ran Bellator. He's an excellent wrestler, explosive striker. He lost his title to the Pitbull, and when Pitbull moved up in weight to get him and knocked him out. And he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. Chandler is one of those cases, like a lot of things, like a lot of guys see in MMA, they're good wrestlers, but they don't really use it much in MMA. He uses more of his explosive striking, right? Because these guys find that they can, that they have some power, they have some explosiveness to their game, and they think, like, I want to do that. And I like knocking people out. People like it, they get to fall in love with it. But I think if he's going to stand a chance in the UFC, it's going to have to rely on his wrestling. If Khabib's out, he could be the wrestler at that weight division, at 155. Now he's facing Dan Hooker. And Dan Hooker, to me, was like the borderline to me of being at the top guys with like Conor McGregor, with Poirier. Dan Hooker's coming off a war with Poirier, actually, but he comes up short in these big fights. He comes up short. His biggest win is Paul Felder, right? So he comes up short in when they face the big names, the big fights, the fights that set you up for a title shot. He comes up short, and there's a reason for that, because he has zero defense. Like we're talking about Poirier, he has zero defense. Dan Hooker has zero defense. He's straight as a board. He comes in here. To me, he has one of the best stance in MMA for striking his punches. He keeps his punches long. He hits you. He's able to hit you from that long distance. He doesn't have to bring his arms back, but he lets him. The only problem is he keeps his hands right here. When he could just keep his hands right here, and it would change the whole game for him. Just keep his hands right here would block half the shots he gets hit with now. But he doesn't, and then he's undisciplined. He had Poirier in the third round. He had Poirier against the fence, just wailing on him. It looked like the fight was over, coming to the end of the round, but he stood there too long, and he stood there with his hands down, and then he gets caught, and he doesn't need to get caught. It's just undisciplined. It's undisciplined. It's not knowing where you're at, not staying in your mind of the fight, and he's undisciplined with that. And I think that honestly, Dan Hooker has the stand up, the takedown defense to beat Chandler. Only problem is he'll stay there too long, and Chandler hits too powerful. So if he's gonna Chandler's gonna get enough chances to hit him, Eventually, he's gonna knock him out because Dan Hooker doesn't have lights. It doesn't have lights out power. He doesn't. It's gonna take accumulation, and Chandler's gonna eventually land one shot, and it's gonna fold him. And I think that if Dan Hooker pulled off, and he looks what he should, if he just disciplined, kept his hands up, added a little more defense, he'd be a problem really for anyone at the weight. But he doesn't do that. And I think Chandler's going to land the shot, knock him out. And I hope Chandler mixes in some wrestling because that's going to benefit him. He needs it to survive in the UFC. It's not Bellator. The competition's a lot higher. The level of competition's a lot higher. And even in Bellator, the guy got you. The talent was going to outgrow you. You need to add your wrestling. It cannot be just you explosive striking. Because you do not have the proper technique. Because what Chandler's mistake is he reaches from too far. He reaches way too far. He'll reach from, he's coming from a far, far distance. That's because he's used to shooting like a takedown from that distance. But he comes for a punch. A guy like Dan Hooker or Conor McGregor, if he did a Conor McGregor, he'll go to sleep. Right? So he's going to have to mix wrestling in with it. He's going to have to be more disciplined with the striking. But I just think that Dan Hooker gives you way too many shots and way too many chances. And I think Chandler hits hard enough to where if you give him that chance once or twice, you probably go to sleep. So I'm going to take Chandler in that fight. I'm looking at the odds right now. That's a little bit of upset, but it's basically a toss-up fight. It's a minus 120 for plus 100 for Chandler. It's a toss-up fight. It really should be a toss-up fight. I'm actually surprised Dan Hooker's the favorite in that fight. But you remember Dan Hooker's coming off a war too. Dustin Poirier's coming off a war too. But I think Dan Hooker even took the worst of that war. So I do not expect it just him to be. That was 4, 5, 6 months ago. That there's going to be some after effects of that. Same thing with Poirier. Poirier's always in wars though. He's always in wars. He says he's going to be a war with Conor. And Conor said that, his ideas of a war and Poirier's ideas of war are different things. You can interpret that a lot of different ways. I just think that Conor means that his skill level, even in a war, is going to be higher than him. And Poirier doesn't have the skill level to force Conor to war. And I agree with that. There's a lot of rumors going on. Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis going back and forth, right, on that fight. And that's a great fight. It's one of the biggest fights you can make in boxing. It's probably the biggest fight you can make, especially at 135. And that's saying a lot with all the fighters that they have there in that weight class right now and all the names. But then the rumors started dropping today. Ryan Garcia says that he's going to announce his next opponent. And now Gervonta Davis says, well, I don't know anything about this, so it ain't me, right? So people are saying, what is he talking about? And then he goes on and interviews a radio show, and he says it's bigger than, bigger fight than Gervonta Davis. And there's no bigger fight than Gervonta Davis at that weight. Because the fight isn't at that weight, though, that he's talking about. The fight that he's talking about is Manny Pacquiao. And now, is this real? I don't know, right? I've heard Manny Pacquiao's going to fight Conor McGregor. I heard Manny Pacquiao's going to fight Terrence Crawford. I heard him going to fight Earl Spence. I've heard it all from Manny Pacquiao, right? But why is it possible? I'll explain why it's possible. Because Manny Pacquiao's a bloated 147. He's not really 147. He's just so talented. He doesn't really have to cut weight. He fight 147. He goes into the gym at 147. He leaves the gym at 147. If he chose to cut weight, he gets to 140. No problem. Now, Ryan Garcia, he's 135. Now, he's still young. He's still growing. Still filling out. He can get to 140. He probably walks around 147, 150. He can get to 140. He gets to 140, right? So he's going to cut to 140. Ryan Garcia goes up. Manny Pacquiao comes down. Now, why does this fight even make sense to happen, right? Ryan Garcia is here for a good time, not a long time, right? He's here to make money now. He's here to have the biggest fights now because Ryan Garcia wants to retire at 27 years old. So he's going to make it happen now, right? This is a strategy that I thought a lot more boxers should take, right? If you have a chance to make money, you should make money as quick as possible because the sport is not guaranteed. And if Ryan Garcia could get paid out, in millions of dollars to fight Manny Pacquiao, and if Manny Pacquiao is a legend, he's beaten a lot of great champs, beating Thurman, beating Margarito, Cotto, beating a lot of great champs. It's no shame to lose to. Now, if you beat Manny Pacquiao and you retire Manny Pacquiao, well, he's already, to me, Ryan Garcia is already the biggest star in boxing, right? He already, to me, has that. If you talk boxing, everybody's going to bring Ryan Garcia. But if he wins this, right, he will he's taking chances that no one else will, right? He will control that weight division. He would be the man at 135. He'd be the man at 140. That's just it. He's going to, just by name power alone, Ryan Garcia's seen past belts. He's seen past mandatories. He's seen past all these things, and he's just seeing opportunity. And this was opened up for a lot of fighters that they just got away from the way that they're used to. And Ryan Garcia is saying it doesn't have to be that way. I am a bigger star than the system allows. And he is. He's as big star as like Conor McGregor. When Conor McGregor fought for 2 belts and you were like, why didn't anyone do this before? And then Conor McGregor left the belts and he went and fought Mayweather and you were like, how come no one's done this before? Because Conor McGregor is bigger than the system that he is in. Ryan Garcia is bigger than the system he is in. He's going to have more opportunities to this, but also he puts himself in these opportunities. This fight makes sense to me. It really does. Ryan Garcia with Gervonta Davis makes sense, right? It's a good fight, great fight. But Ryan Garcia is shooting more than just the best guy in boxing right now. He wants to be the number one fighter in the world, MMA, boxing, anything. You talk about Ryan Garcia. He sees things in a bigger view than everyone. Now, is he reaching for the stars? Yes. You know what I mean? Is there a chance he gets knocked out and destroyed by Manny Pacquiao? Yes, of course. But he's willing to find that out. And I think that, with great, like they say, with great risk comes great reward. Well, that's what Ryan Garcia sees. And Ryan Garcia is going to take all those chances and he's going to find out what he is. He's going to find out if he's the truth because we're all debating it, but he's not being protected. He's going to let you know. If all the things we're debating, he's going to let you know. And he knows that the moment of strike is now because he has the world's attention. And if he fights Manny Pacquiao, and why wouldn't Manny Pacquiao take this fight? Manny Pacquiao will fight one of the biggest name in boxing. It'll be a notable win on his thing. He would be the first guy to beat him. It's opponent that he probably sees as beatable. Ryan Garcia just got dropped. It's an all offensive fight. He doesn't have to go and find him. It's not a guy's run from. It's not a guy bigger than him. It's a guy actually the Manny Pacquiao will be the bigger man in. It's the last time Manny Pacquiao had that chance in a fight. It's gonna make a lot of money for both sides. It makes all the sense in the world for this fight to happen. And at first you're like, what? That comes out of nowhere. It doesn't. You put it all together, it makes sense. It's a great fight, great matchup. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm not going to say guarantee that's going to happen because I've heard that from Manny Pacquiao for a lot of things. But this one, I can see why Manny would do it. It makes a lot of sense. If Manny got Ryan Garcia and Conor McGregor in 1 year, I mean, that's... Floyd would be jealous of that. Floyd would be super jealous of that if that happened. I'm actually surprised that Floyd's probably like, damn, how did I not think of coming back to fight Ryan Garcia? You know what I mean? And imagine Ryan Garcia wins. And Ryan Garcia's been saying this since he was a kid that he was going to fight Manny Pacquiao and retire Manny Pacquiao. And look, it's going to happen. That's what happens. He dreamed big and it's going to happen. Great fights. Good fight tomorrow morning, though. The fight's tomorrow, like at 9 o'clock in the morning. Magny versus Chiesa. It's all right card. It was supposed to be a way better card, but Chimyov got COVID and he couldn't fight Leon Edwards, which would have been a great main event, great matchup, but not bad. You know what I mean? It's a midweek MMA card, getting ready for Conor McGregor. You can't complain. Stephen Fulton versus Angelo Leo this weekend. Great boxing card, underrated boxing card. Not gonna, no one's gonna talk about it. Just a great boxing card, good card all around. Rolly's on the undercard, and Rolly has a name. I gotta say, like, you just say Rolly, and people, in the boxing community at least know what you're talking about. So he's doing the right things. Mayweather knows how to build a name. I don't, gotta give him the money team credit on that. Good week for fighting, honestly. And it's gonna get the ball rolling into some pretty good weeks. This has been The Wayne.